Is white noise a sleep crutch for babies? And if I'm trying to teach my baby better sleeping habits, is this going to be a problem? A sleep crutch or a sleep association is something that a baby relies on to fall asleep and stay asleep. So white noise that is creating a background constant noise helps babies to sleep longer and deeper. So now obviously if you take it away, your concern is, will they now wake up more regularly? White noise is also known to mimic the sound of the womb when you are pregnant, which is very familiar to babies and can not only help them sleep deeper or longer, but it helps calm fussy babies. So there are a lot of pros to white noise and is highly used with sleep training consultants as well. But too much of a good thing is also never a good thing. So to prevent your baby from becoming too dependent on white noise, there are a couple of things that you can do. If you don't want to do that, you can always wean your baby at a later stage. Something like a dummy is also seen as a sleep crutch. Many parents refuse to give it up until a certain point where their baby sleeps well, and then they take the dummy away because they feel taking it away too early is not going to help the baby or it's going to cause too much drama. So many people carry on with some sleep crutches for a while, even though we don't want it. Life happens, and sometimes you know it's a sleep crutch and you just cannot care right now because you need that sleep crutch sometimes as much as your baby needs it. So make it work for you. If you don't want your baby to use white noise as a sleep crutch, you can start off by not using it to put your baby to sleep, but instead use it to keep your baby asleep. So you might go to the normal shh when you put your baby down to sleep, or you might refrain from doing that, but the moment your baby is asleep, you can switch that on, which will help the baby stay in that deep sleep when they go through the sleep cycles. In that way, they don't learn to associate that sleep crutch with going to sleep, but only staying asleep. So weaning them off from it later is not as hard. But if you want to keep it from the beginning, then you can go to white noises that are so natural that it almost doesn't become a sleep crutch. And something like that would be, for instance, a ceiling fan. We don't even notice the sound of a ceiling fan anymore. So it's not something that we rely on as sleep crutches, but it is so subtle that if you put it on when you put your baby to sleep, it's just loud enough to block out maybe other noises around you that are not white noises, or loud enough to break a complete silence in the room. But it is not too loud that the baby learns to associate that sound with sleeping. It is recommended that whatever white noise you use to not go higher than 50 decibels because of baby's hearing that can be damaged, but also that they don't get so dependent on this white noise that it's impossible to wean them later. If you want to start and you have, for instance, a white noise machine or your phone, and you can change the decibels, you can even get apps where you can check the decibels of whatever white noise you are using at the moment to see if it's less than 50 decibels. But you can set it lower so that you know that you're not getting your baby dependent on that white noise, but you are still relying on it to be the background noise if your baby goes and wakes up through a sleep cycle. It's not complete silence and goes into another sleep cycle. If you've already started with white noise and it's perhaps already a sleep crutch and you don't want it to be one, you can just wean the baby. And even if your baby is not born yet and you want to use white noise, you can also use this tip. Don't use it consistently all the time. You can use it maybe only at nighttime when you want the baby to sleep deeper or longer. Or if you want to try and wean your baby, try weaning one nap at a time. So they might sleep shorter for that nap, but slowly they're going to learn to go into another sleep cycle on their own as they get older, and you will need the white noise less. But if you want to do that from the beginning, you can choose and decide nighttime we use the white noise, and perhaps one nap in the middle of the day where you want them to have a little bit of a longer nap, then you use the white noise. But otherwise, in between those naps, if they're a little bit shorter, you go with the flow and they don't sleep as long, but you also know that they're not getting as dependent on it as they might be if you use it for every nap. You know, in the end, it's just like any other thing that you use. If you use too much of it, there's always some kind of risk associated with it. So if you use it in moderation, it can actually be a huge help, and you don't have to worry too much about the risk or weaning your baby afterwards. If you like this video, hit the like button so we can make sure that more moms have a solid night's sleep every now and then. And while you're here, you might want to check out this video.